let's start with the new chapter, that is atomic structure. But before we talk about this chapter, let's take up a few points which will help us to understand this chapter better. So let's talk about point charges first. So what are point charges? Point charges are actually very small charges. Small, so kitna small? That small that it is significantly very small as compared to the distance at which it is kept from the other charge. और इजी तरीके से समझते हैं कि suppose if you have a charge q1 and it is kept very far away from a charge q2 such that the distance between q1 and q2 is very large. Okay, very large as compared to the size of q1. Distance is very large, size of q1 is not comparable at all with the distance between q1 and q2. Then q1 can be considered as a point charge. So this is very important concept. You should understand that point charge is a very small charge, but small with respect to what? With respect to the distance between the given charge and the charge with which it is in interaction with. Okay. Another important thing is regarding point charge that whenever we calculate the charge, charge is always taken as the integral multiple of charge on electron. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए we use a formula Q is equal to NE, where N is what? N is your integer 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So charge will always exist as integral multiple of E, and E is what? E is the charge on electron. मतलब क्या है कि charge on electron is the smallest charge that we are considering. अगर आपसे पूछा जाए कि कितना minimum charge exist कर सकता है, तो that charge that is existing on an electron is the minimum charge that can exist. And whatever charge will exist, it will exist as integral multiple of the charge on electron. Okay, so always remember, you will never have half charge, 1.5 charge. It will always be in integral multiples. Correct? Now, what is the charge on an electron? ये भी एक important चीज है. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि charge on electron is 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This much charge exists on an electron. And coulomb is what? Coulomb is the SI unit of charge. So in SI unit we say that 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb of charge exists on an electron. Okay. इसी को अगर हम CGS unit में ले तो that comes out to be 4.8 into 10 to the power minus 10 ESU. ESU मतलब electrostatic unit. This is the CGS unit. Correct? One more thing. Now, when we came to know about point charges, तो कूलम ने एक फॉर्मूला दिया हमें to calculate the force between two charges. अच्छा, इससे पहले एक चीज आप और समझिए, कोई भी दो पॉइंट चार्जेस होंगे तो in smaller classes you must have studied that if they are like charges, suppose both the charges are positive, there will be a force of repulsion between the like charges. And if they are oppositely charged or different, having different kind of charge, means if one is negative or the other one is positive. So whenever you have like charges, दोनों प्लस हैं या दोनों माइनस हैं, there will always be repulsion between them. And when you have two oppositely charged bodies, there is always attraction between them. तो ये attraction और repulsion आखिर है क्या? It is actually the force that we are talking about. Force of attraction or force of repulsion. अब इस फोर्स को कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? तो इस फोर्स को कैलकुलेट करने के लिए कूलम ने हमें एक फॉर्मूला दिया, F is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Okay, where K is what? K is always equal to, K is a constant, K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. और इसकी वैल्यू अगर आप सब्सटीट्यूट कर दो तो इट कम्स आउट टू बी 9 into 10 to the power 9 इन SI सिस्टम. और इसी को अगर हम CGS में बात करें तो दिस कम्स आउट टू बी 1 in CGS system. Okay, CGS. So actually what Coulomb is saying कि अगर if you have 2 point charges Q1 and Q2 and they are kept apart, they are kept some distance apart such that this distance is R, then you can find the force using this given formula as F equal to K Q1 Q2. Q1 Q2 क्या है? The charges respectively. What is R? R is the distance of separation between the charges, and by making use of Coulomb's formula you can find uh, the force between the 2 point charges. Okay, तो ये कुछ छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जो हमें पता होनी चाहिए बिफोर वी बिगिन दिस चैप्टर. और एक दो फॉर्मूले हैं जो let's talk about them. Although you'll be dealing with all these things in detail in electrostatics, in physics. So when you start with the chapter of electrostatics in physics, you'll do the derivation of all these things. पर यहाँ पर हमको derivation की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं है. We only need 1 or 2 formulas. Okay, और उससे हमारा काम चल जाएगा. Let's take up one more thing, that is potential energy. तो अगर हमको potential energy निकालनी हो, potential energy को किससे denote करते हैं? U से. So for potential energy you have another formula, that is K Q1 Q2 upon R. याद रखिएगा कि force में you have R square in the denominator, but in potential energy you have K Q1 Q2 upon R. Okay, so I think this much will be enough for us to know or to begin with the chapter. एक और चीज कि अगर U जो है, if U comes out to be positive, इसका मतलब क्या है? Potential energy positive है, मतलब कि Q1 and Q2 both are having the same sign. Q1 Q2 both having same sign means what? Means there is force of repulsion between them. Correct? Same sign, same charges, same like charges repel each other. So we are talking about force of repulsion in that case. Okay. And if U comes out to be negative, yani ki one of the charge is positive, the other charge is negative, means they are of opposite nature, means we are talking about force of attraction in that case. So now let's talk about the structure of atom. And before we begin with the structure of atom, uh, the concept of atom was given by a scientist called as Dalton. He was the first one to talk about atom. So he developed certain theory, and according to his theory, if we see, then atom was considered to be a small, hard substance or dense substance, or the smallest particle of matter which is indivisible in nature, means you cannot further divide it. Means what he wanted to say was that if matter is existing and if you break that matter into small parts such that you reach the smallest particle of matter, then that smallest particle of matter is actually the atom, which he called it as atom. So he gave certain theory regarding the atoms. Let's see what it was. He said that each element is composed of extremely small particles called atoms. Okay, everything is made up of very small particles which will be called as atoms. Atoms of particular element. Now suppose if we talk about any particular element like gold, so atoms of gold will be like, this is what he's saying, but differ from atoms of the other element. So he said that atoms of the same element are like, they are same, but atoms of different elements differ, they are different. Okay, then the third point that he said, that atom of each element is an ultimate particle. Ultimate particle means it is an absolute particle, smallest particle, and it has some characteristic mass. means it will be consisting of certain mass because it is a part of matter. So what is matter? Matter is something which occupies space and has mass. So atom will also be having a characteristic mass, but it is structureless because he did not describe the structure of atom. He talked about the existence of atom. He said that atom is the smallest particle, but he's not talking about the structure, that how does it look. Okay. Then he said that atoms are indestructible. You cannot destroy atoms because atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. क्या है ये? This is just the law of conservation of mass. Matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. Then he said that atom of elements take part in chemical reactions to form molecules. So basically, he means to say that atoms will take part in any chemical reaction to form a molecule because rearrangement of those atoms will be taking place. Rearrangement of atoms will take place. For example, certain atoms together will combine to form oxygen gas. Okay, so it is just the rearrangement, or if a chemical reaction is taking place, for example, sodium is reacting with chlorine, so one atom of sodium reacting with one atom of chlorine to form NaCl. So it only the rearrangement has taken place, they have combined together to form sodium chloride and nothing else. It's simply rearrangement of atoms in a chemical reaction that is taking place. Okay, but the theory that he developed had certain drawbacks also. He was not able to explain certain things. Okay, he was able to explain the law of conservation of mass. He was able to explain the law of definite proportion. He was also able to explain the law of constant composition. But there were certain things which he was not able to explain. जैसे कि existence of isotopes not explained by Dalton's atomic theory. Similarly, existence of isobars, ये भी हम डेल्टन की एटॉमिक थ्योरी से एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकते. तो ये कुछ ड्रॉबैक्स हैं डेल्टन की एटॉमिक थ्योरी में. अच्छा, during this the time when Dalton gave his atomic theory, इसी टाइम पे बहुत सारे there were a lot of physicists who were studying electricity. And when they were studying electricity, they noticed the electrical properties or the electrical nature of matter. तो उनके लिए एक ये बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन था कि मैटर तो का स्मॉलेस्ट पार्टिकल तो एटम है, और अगर एटम स्मॉलेस्ट पार्टिकल है तो ये इलेक्ट्रिकल नेचर एटम का किस वजह से है. So they were conducting a lot of experiments regarding electricity, right? इसी टाइम पे एक साइंटिस्ट हुए, यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड हिज नेम, माइकल फैराडे. So Faraday was also conducting a lot of experiments on electricity, and it was in somewhere around 1830 that he noticed that when if you take a glass rod or ebonite rod and you rub it with silk or fur, they generate electricity. Okay, so basically what he noticed was that there is a movement or there is a transference of some kind of particle from the glass or the ebonite to the silk or the fur when they are rubbed together. Now what is this transference, क्यों हो रहा है? This was not known at that time. Or not only this, he also tried passing electricity through certain electrolytic solutions. And when he passed electricity through electrolytic solution, he saw a lot of chemical changes happening there. Certain gases being liberated, or dissolution of substance being taking place, or deposition of matter taking place on the anode or the cathode. तो इस तरीके के ये जो phenomena exist कर रहे हैं, there was no answer to these phenomena. Why are they happening? And this was a big question, that if only atom is the smallest particle, which is this particle which is being transferred from one material to the other?